Hey everybody, it's ChrisMartin.tv here. Welcome to Pandemic Business, episode number 8. Today I have Vincent Saylor from Vincent Saylor State Farm Insurance here in Lawton, Oklahoma with me. And we're going to go over kind of the same stuff we've been going over. We want to see how this pandemic is affecting his business, is affecting insurance and his clients, and what State Farm is being able to do for clients in this situation. And we're going to get Vincent in here and we'll see how everything is going. So welcome, Vincent. How are you today?
Doing good. How about you, Chris?
Doing quite well, quite well. Glad you are able to join us today, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of introduce yourself and tell the audience who you are, what State Farm is, and what you guys can do for them.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Vincent Saylor. I'm the owner and agent of Vincent Saylor State Farm here in Lawton, Oklahoma. We are a full-service insurance facility that kind of handles all of your home, auto, financial services, along with some commercial business as well, life insurance, health insurance, kind of a one-stop shop for all your insurance and financial services needs. Like I said, we carry the State Farm logo with us and the State Farm flag, so we are a State Farm agency. Like I said, we've got 5 employees that currently work with us, my wife and I included. So it's been a challenging month, obviously. But we're making the best of it and doing what we can to continue to support our customers and anybody else that has any insurance and financial services needs out there.
Well, as of right now, we are a couple weeks into this mess, and you seem to be more and more restricted as time goes on. How is that directly affecting your clientele and your business?
So as far as the business wise, we've got the lobby closed. I come in the office pretty much every day to kind of make sure that the phones are getting answered and things like that, so we can kind of continue to answer any customer service needs and things along those lines. The other employees that my wife also works here, and then we've got 3 other employees that work with us. They're working from home. Mostly what we can do, most of our work can be done from home. Remotely, but that's caused some challenges, obviously, because of some of the daycares and some of the school closings. Everybody that works for us currently has children that are home as well, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. My wife and I have a 6-week-old at the house as well, so working from home for me is been a little bit difficult. So more often than not, Monday through Friday, I'm at the office. Maybe not the full 8 hours, but usually from about 9 to about 3, 4 o'clock. So that way, the phones definitely are getting answered and things like that. But then from there, we can kind of divvy up certain things throughout the other workers so they can make sure that everybody's needs are getting fulfilled and that we have no issues of missing anything or letting anything fall through the cracks for any of our customers.
So in this world, insurance is something that everybody's thinking about, whether it's personal health or life insurance or property and casualty. So how has that changed the game, or has it changed at all regarding what is available to individuals from either purchasing insurance or current clients, and what they should expect going forward?
Right now, obviously on the auto insurance side, people aren't driving their cars as much. So what we have an ability through our Drive Safe and Save app that will likely ultimately lead to some discounts for people because they're not on the roads as much. They're not putting as many miles on their cars and things like that. So discount will potentially could be available for them through that app, because that kind of grades and levels out your driving habits and things like that. And obviously, not as many people are on the roads these days. We have seen a decrease in the number of claims we filed, obviously, in the last couple of weeks, and things along those lines. Now, as far as homeowners insurance and homeowners insurance and fire policies, which we like to call them, on that end, we're in the middle. We live in Oklahoma, so we're kind of in the middle of storm season as far as hail and wind damage and things like that. So that's not really going to stop. We can't tell Mother Nature, hey, we're dealing with a pandemic right now, so please don't rain on our parade or whatever along those lines. So that obviously is still an issue that we have to address if anything comes up. We still have our customer service lines are always open 24/7. So if anything happens, most of our customers also have my cell or can obviously get in touch with State Farm through my cell. So if something happens in the middle of the night, we're still kind of rocking and rolling along those lines. if their house becomes uninhabitable or they have a hole in their roof or something like that. So that's kind of on the auto and on the property and casualty side. It's kind of business as usual for the most part. Now on the life insurance side, obviously we've had some calls related to that. We're still writing life insurance. We still have the ability to write life insurance. Now some of the underwriting may be a little bit delayed because of the things that are going on. But we still have the ability to that. We've also kind of reached out to some customers to make sure that everything is in place as far as their life insurance goes, as far as who their correct beneficiaries are, the amount of life insurance and things like that. So as far as has anything completely changed because of it? Not really on our end. Other than, like I said, you're seeing less people on the road, and when you see less people on the roads, there's less car accidents and things. So they may be able to, with the claims being down, we may be able to see something in the future that could benefit our customers down the road.
Excellent. Well, so in regards to that, with lower claims, with lower action, actuarial tables will change everything and bring the cost hopefully down. And I have seen a couple of agencies like State Farm that are kicking back those kind of like those drive safe benefits that you see advertised a lot, are being able to drop those directly into the form of either reduced or refunded premiums in some cases. So we've got all these things covered, and thankfully, because we are sheltering in place for the most part, our chances for accidents are dropping. Our chances for the need for insurance, or not the need, but the need to file a claim is dropping.
Right.
So is there anything that you can see the insurance industry as a whole shifting to policy-wise because of this? Are there any types of new policies that you can predict or see? And obviously this is one of those things you can't predict the future, but that you as as a professional in the insurance agency or insurance world, is there something that you can see that would shift long term outside of payment or premium adjustments?
Well, a lot of people have kind of moved into that telematics style, where that is kind of in our business, it's called drive safe and save. So in that instance, I mean, everybody's probably seen the commercials out there where don't mess with my discount and some of those type of things. What that does is kind of give us a better idea of what your driving habits are, times of days, and how your acceleration, your braking, and certain things like that. So that kind of gives us an idea of claim probability. So with that, not as many people on the road, this, that, and the other. That's a great way to kind of control your insurance rates on your own. With that being said, I mean, with not as many people on the roads and things, that it's very likely that people will see a discount if they're involved in one of those telematics things, especially through State Farm's Drive Safe and Save. As far as the future, I mean, more people may be interested in that because they may find out, hey, my cousin had it in his car, and his discount went down $80 over the amount of time and things like that. There's also some things out there that, I mean, we as State Farm, we're a mutual company, so there's no telling what State Farm may decide to do in the weeks ahead, depending on how the claim rates go and things like that. I mean, those actuary tables and things, I mean, may get kind of thrown for a little bit of a loop because you're looking at the percentages of wrecks are probably not only wrecks but claims in general are going to be down. So ultimately, that should benefit the customer, but I guess it's just kind of a wait and see, and how long this thing lasts and how everything kind of plays out.
So in regards to shifting, are you seeing an increase in clients, not only with your agency, but across the board? You think that because we're in a time of uncertainty, because we're in this time of, there's a lot of fear involved, do you see a lot of people jumping more into getting a policy and covering things or adjusting their coverage?
Some people are adjusting their coverages a little. I wouldn't say we've seen an uptick in customers searching for insurance. I think right now a lot of people are kind of just playing the status quo and kind of staying where they are and seeing what's going on. because we don't know how long this is going to last and things like that. One thing that we are doing, we are kind of deferring some payments because we realize that the economy has taken a little bit of a hit there. So we are deferring payments. If you're unable to make your payments in April, we're deferring those and going to spread those out over some months period. So that way, it's not a forgiveness, but it's kind of a forbearance to where they can kind of catch those payments up, considering the circumstances down the road. But I wouldn't say there's necessarily an uptick. I mean, some people are. Now, the one area I guess where we have kind of seen an uptick, whether it be on the quoting side or just on the conversation side of people that already currently have it, is on the life insurance side. Because during situations like that, people kind of start thinking about, hey, what does my family's future look like if I'm not here? So we have seen an uptick as far as with our current customers kind of reaching out and saying, hey, what do I have in place? Who's the beneficiary? What happens? How does all this work? And things along those lines.
So, in regards to that, ultimately, like I said, there is this unsuredness. There's this question regarding that. How long does it take for these changes to take place once somebody needs to implement them? If something were to happen, is there a grace period from the time they make the change to the time that policy or those changes are active?
So as far as the beneficiary changes or anything like that, those kind of happen automatically. So if you decide to do that on a Monday and unfortunately something happens on a Wednesday, then more than likely that's going to be the way it was, unless obviously you kind of getting into some legal issues there where the fraud may be involved and things like that. But outside of that, as far as those changes happen, they go about. Most life insurance policies have somewhat of a grace period for them where they investigate certain things if something happens within X amount of time. But in this situation, as long as it goes through what we underwriting and everything checks out and the policy's in place, then the family potentially could make a claim on that policy.
So in this time with things changing, what is your biggest amount of advice or most important piece of advice to anybody that either has currently a policy or is in need of one?
My advice, obviously, we're an advocate for life insurance. The last thing that we want anybody to happen to them is to not be able to protect their family in the future. Obviously, expenses and everyday life comes into that, but we're huge advocates of life insurance because you're your biggest asset. So, if you're not only your paycheck, but just being there for your family and things like that. So we like to have everybody leave a little bit of a legacy in place there. So that's kind of the biggest thing. I would say review your policies. Some policies, you get a life insurance policy sometimes and you don't review it for multiple years and you kind of look back and you go, oh, I didn't realize that this person was the beneficiary, or that person is no longer around, that person has passed away as well. We need to get that changed. So just kind of reviewing your life insurance, if you currently have a life insurance policy, is probably not only just because we're in a pandemic, but that's something good to kind of look at every couple months, at least once a year. And then as far as if you don't have one in place, now's a good time to kind of talk and kind of lay out, hey, what do I want to leave my family should something happen to me? We're obviously here to kind of have those discussions with people. It's not a fun conversation, but it's more conversation that's needed. And that's kind of what we're here as your insurance professionals to have with you, to kind of discuss some of the pros and cons of the different types of policies and the pros and cons as to what may be needed for your family should the unfortunate happen. In insurance, we're dealing with probabilities and we're dealing with the unforeseen. And obviously, this is very unforeseen, considering where we are in the world right now with everything closed and all shelter-in-place orders and all that kind of stuff. So just kind of making sure that you have your plan in place, or just sitting down with somebody and discussing a plan is probably good for everybody kind of to do here in the near future.
So on the opposite side of that, what advice do you have to not do? Any kind of reactionary bad calls that might be possible right now? What are you telling people that they definitely don't need to be doing right now?
I think right now you just want to kind of play this thing out a little. I mean, I don't think you want to make um, harsh decisions of. I mean, some life insurance policies have the ability to um, return money to you and things like that. So I don't think you want to. Oh well, I don't have a paycheck tomorrow, so I'm going to cancel everything and save all that money. Because in the future, I mean, 2 months from now, when everything, or 3 months from now, a year from now, everything gets back to the way that it was. Now, all of a sudden, you don't have that plan in place, whether it be life insurance, whether it be car insurance, and your new rates potentially are raised or whatnot because you didn't have it during that period. So, I think the main thing right now is just kind of maintain the status quo and make sure that you're still protected as far as your home and your car and your life goes. But I mean, just not don't make any rash decisions that could affect you in the future because the way this is going, we all hope that this is going to be over sooner rather than later, but we don't know the amount of time this may take. But we just kind of want to kind of let it play out, stay at home, flatten the curve, and let's get back to the way things, the new normal is going to be, and let's get back to rocking and rolling like we were before this.
So, for anybody that has been watching, you mentioned it earlier, you can do your work remotely. So, if anybody wants to sign up for a new policy, can all that be delivered digitally instead of having to meet in person at any point in time?
Yes, I mean the way that we're operating right now, we can handle everything remotely. We can email you your ID cards if you're at the dealership. We can email you there. Life insurance policies, as long as you're in the state of Oklahoma, we can email you, and you can potentially sign the policies and whatnot. Everything we do can be done remotely. Obviously, it's always better to sit down face to face with somebody when it comes to making a decision such as life insurance and some of those conversations. But considering the circumstances and the times, we can do everything remotely. We can get you everything. We can digitally sign everything. So we can function completely in a remote digital world at the moment. So yeah, there's that's why the lobby is currently closed. We're trying to help flatten the curve in that aspect and having as as the leader and the boss and the owner. I mean, I feel it's my obligation to make sure that my employees are doing what's right and making sure they're maintaining their health. So that's why I'm the one that kind of comes every day to make sure that the ship is still sailing in the right direction. But like I said, I mean, we can do everything we have to do outside of the office and remotely.
Excellent. So, is there anything else that we didn't cover? And because we did burn through this pretty quickly, you were direct and to the point, which I appreciate a lot. Is there anything that off the top of your head that we might have missed, or additional advice you'd give to anybody?
Uh, I mean, obviously, open enrollment is back open for Blue Cross Blue Shield customers in the health market and whatnot. Obviously, if you've lost your job and potentially lost your benefits, that is open as well. So you can talk to any type of provider that may be able to handle that as through open enrollment. So that's something obviously that may be needed for a lot of people at this time with the unfortunate circumstances of some jobs having been shut down and things like that. As far as that, I mean, you're just kind of on a personal level. I mean, your heart goes out to all those doctors and nurses in those areas that are very hard hit right now. My family's from Kristen, you know this. My family's from New Orleans, and I mean, New Orleans is kind of one of the epicenters right now, and I've got family down there that's in the medical industry and nurses and things along those lines. So your heart kind of goes out for those people. Your heart goes out for all the kids that were seniors that may never play a baseball game again or may never be able to do a debate again if they were on a debate team or band competitions or any of that type of stuff. So, I mean, on the human level of things, I mean, as an insurance provider and whatnot, I mean, we kind of deal with people's families and things like that for a long period of time. So your heart kind of goes out for people that are missing things. I mean, at the end of the day, you're missing it because we're trying to keep everybody healthy and safe. But still, I mean, you can't get this time back, so you feel bad for some of those people.
I definitely can understand that. And New Orleans has it's kind of like Oklahoma in that sense of understanding tragedy and disaster and loss a little more than
Yeah,
most.
we've been through the ringer a couple of times down there, but they've always been able to rise up and survive. So I have no doubt New Orleans will make a triumphant return when all this is over.
Uh, I agree right there with you, and I think us as a country is going to be right there. We're going to
Yeah,
all understand by the time it's all said and done what something like this can do to us and the human spirit and bring us all together.
right.
So I think we're going to be in a pretty good shape there. So Vincent, I appreciate you joining me today, and it's been very helpful information. And glad that anybody that was able to join in and take a look while we were live here can get some extra information for them, helpful for them. Of course, they can always catch it on the restream as they needed to be. So anybody that is curious about Vincent and State Farm, make sure that you check out his website and you can give him a call here as needed. And you can call him at 580-699-2771 or vfsaylorinsurance.com. If you want to get a hold of him, start the policy process and any kind of coverage or whatnot. And is there anything else that you'd like to add before we go on?
No, I mean, Chris, thanks a ton for having us. Thanks a ton for doing these series. I mean, it's good to kind of hear from other industries of kind of where they are and what's going on in those situations. So appreciate all the work that you do in doing this, but also all the work that you do for the community as well.
Well, I appreciate that very much, and anything I can do to help out, I'm in here as much as I can. Because helping others helps me ultimately, and I think we're all in this
Right.
together, and I think we're going to go and be a better community for it when it's all said and done. So again, thank you, and if anybody that wants to be part of the show. Want to be considered to be on here, make sure you go out to the website and fill out the form at chrismartin.tv/live interviews and kick in your information there, and we'll go through the list as we're going along and as my schedule allows, so we can get you on here and get you interviewed, get your information out there so the rest of the world can hear your story. So again, Vincent, thank you very much, and everybody, we will catch you next time.